Hello and welcome to the show. I'm Trichologist Lisa Akbari, your hair doctor, and I am really super excited about today's show. Now, we've got a lot going on, and let me see if I can get the camera just right. As you guys are loading in, thank you so much for joining me. I'm here each and every week on WDA Studios and iHeartRadio. So I want to thank you so much for joining me today. And we're going to talk, I've got an exciting show. I'm going to talk about Kelis Rogers and what is she up to with her hair? And Aisha Hinds. Yeah, she's busy as well. Those are some of our celebrities, but we got a whole lot of other stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about things that are important to you as well. And one of those things is how to get curls without using so much heat. You know how to define your curls or change your curl pattern to what you want. Also, we're going to talk today about what some of the things that deals with your hair type. How do you figure out your curl type, and why is this so important to know your curl type? That's going to be important today. We're also going to talk about working with dry brittle ends. That's so important to many women, especially women of color. The other thing is we're going to talk about locks. What's the right way to start our locks, and how do we maintain our locks, and how do we keep from having problems with our locks? I have many patients who come into my institute and they lose hair. And they're wearing their locks. And so they thought they were like home free. But we're going to talk about why. And then quick weave. Yes, we're going to talk about quick weave today. We're going to talk about some reasons why you shouldn't get quick weave. I know, guys, it's lovely, but we're going to talk about that today. And so I want you to join me as you guys are loading up. We're going to join me. I'm trichologist Lisa Akbari, your hair doctor. And if you ever want to get in touch with me, you can email me, lisa@lisaakbari.com. And let me make sure that I get that all logged in for you. And then I'm going to do my hair. You know, I always open up the show with doing a style. Now, those of you who are on the radio, you won't be able to hear me, but those of you who are live with me on YouTube, you can just go to my YouTube page and you will see Elsie. I call her Elsie. Oh my goodness, I just ruined her name. Aisha Hinds, and you will see me and all the things that I'm doing. That's where the title you'll see, but you also see all the things that I'm doing that day. Like I'm talking about locks, so if you can go live now, that's great. But if you can't go live right now, then it's always archived. We're going to talk about locks. We're going to talk about quick weave. We're going to talk about everything and a little bit of celebrity, as I said earlier. But we're going to start with working with my hair. So I'm going to make sure that I put my email address so that in my website up before I start with my hair. So let's take a look and see where we are. Okay, let's see. Let's see. We are right here. Here we are. So let's see who's already logged in and see what's going on. So let's take a look. Let's get where we are. Mute there. Okay. There we go. All right. So now I'm just going to put my web address up there. Lisa. My email address first at Lisa.com. Lisa@lisaakbari.com. There we go. Lisa@lisaakbari.com. Okay. And my web address is just Lisa Akbari, LisaAkbari.com. So you have both of them. So hello, everyone. It's so good to see you guys. A big kiss to my cyber family out there, loving you. So now we are in. So what I want to do now, before we get started on our exciting show, as I said, we're going to talk about quick weaves, going to talk about locks, talk about your hair type. Oh, there's a lot to talk about today. And then we're going to do a little bit of celebrity. here for you as well. We're going to talk about that purple hair. Who's got purple hair and who's going bald again, but not just losing hair, but they're shaving. But it's a little bit of twist. If you look at the video, it looks like she might have a little thinning problem, but we're going to talk about her as well. So those are our two celebrities. I'll give you their names again in just a moment. Okay, so let's get back to me, because I'm always showing you guys, and again, I know if you're on the tuning in on the radio that you can't see me, but if you are, there we go. I'm just trying to get back to the fuller screen so I can see what I'm doing here. If you can't see me on the, of course, if you're on the radio, you won't be able to see me, but you can actually, no problem, look on my YouTube page. Okay, so I have headband on, and you always notice that, and see, it leaves that little print, but it's only because I just have such full hair. But it's really nothing that's really tight. This is one, I always try to bring one out from my group of headbands, the ones I wear. You know, you all have that old special PJs that you wear. Well, this is for my group, and it's, you can see the little reason I like to do that, because you'll be able to see what it's made out of. Is these little ribbons, and it's just like a nylon ribbon. As long as you have something that's really smooth, that is going to be something that you can definitely use on your hair. Okay, so we're going to start with because it's hair friendly. It's not, hair is thread like fibers, so you're not going to have to worry about your hair actually being rubbed or rough up or something like that. So you always want smooth, and then also has these little air holes in it, and the thread is kind of a nylon elastic. It's wonderful. And so, and they're not expensive either. So I'm going to show my hair. Just, I always start out with the headband, and then I have the little scrunchie. But what do I do at night to my hair? Okay, at night, basically I just use I twist my hair, and you can see it on my curly fro. I twist my hair, and once I twist my hair, that sets for whatever else I want to do. And so when I get up in the morning, and I twist it with my product called Hair Vitamin, and then when I get up in the morning, I down, and I basically put moisturizer. I start on one side of the head, and I go from front to back, and I go ear to ear till I make it completely to the opposite side. And once I hydrated my hair with my moisturizer, I put the scrunchie on, and then you just kind of separate the hair, and you start out with this because it's going to be pulled back, but this gives you a way to stretch out your fro, and I'm always wanting that to happen with my fro. And so many people are asking, you see how my curl pattern is just kind of stretched? If you saw it when I first start out, and all I'm doing is just taking the hair and separating it. So if you get to a little kink, you take your forefinger and thumb, smooth through, and you work through your hair. And that's so crucial, because if you don't do that, then you're going to have a problem with your hair tearing. And if you tear your hair shaft or your strand, you're going to have a problem with poor elasticity. And poor elasticity causes a problem with you having the ability to stretch your hair. So if you're wondering how to get that hairline straight here on the hair strand, but here you want that fuller, then you just take your fingers and pull the hair forward. But anyways, so you don't want poor elasticity, because if you have poor elasticity, then your hair will not stretch as you manipulate it, and it will break. So that's why it's crucial to not tear your hair, because those microscopic tears causes poor elasticity. And how do we get those tears? We get those tears from detangling, rough combing, brushing, and you know we love brushes. We were raised with brushes. We think it's going to give us, I don't know, long hair. We think it's going to give us hydrated hair. We think it's going to do all these great things, but in actuality, if you've noticed, all of our brushes that we were raised with and we've been using, most of them have hair in them. If you don't have a bristle brush, and if it doesn't have hair, I'm going to leave that open, or maybe I could close it. You can see how my fro is just huge. Okay, so I'm having to push back a little bit. And then I've got to let my collar down, because now you don't need to pop the collar with your fro that up like that. Okay, now. And so here I am, and there it is. There's my fro. Okay, so to get right to the show. And again, I always try to do some things with my hair because my hair is, I want us to know how wonderfully flexible our hair is and how versatile it is and how soft and how it can have body and movement. Have to worry about our fro, like we do. We just worry about whether or not it's going. We have to wear a twist, and I'm not a twist girl. I mean, I can do a twist out, like dressing it for bed, but I'm not going to walk around with twists. I'm just not going to do that. Okay, all right. So let's go, and I like the fro. And that's a whole nother show, and we will talk about that on that show. Okay, so let's start with Miss. Who is it we want to start with? We're going to do our celebrity hair and our celebrity news about our hair news. And who do we want to start with? We want to start with, okay, I want to pronounce her name correctly, Aisha Hinds. Aisha. Doesn't Stevie Wonder have a daughter named Aisha? I think so. Is this his daughter? I don't think so. Okay. Okay, guys. Well, you can email me or you can send me a chat and tell me if I'm whose daughter she is. But anyways, I know she's fabulous. Fabulous. And she has decided to come up with her own unique style, but she has a really good story behind it, and that's why I used her. I wanted to present her today. She has a good story behind why she decided to go bald. And I looked at the videos. Essence did an article on it. And, I think she's got some issues with thinning in the crown, but I'd have to do the examination myself. But it's just her own little unique style. She said she wanted to do it, and that's what she's doing. So cool, cool, cool. We're excited for her. But she's one of the things that Aisha said about her hair was that good morning, Blondie. Welcome to the show. She said that she moved to California and acting and all of the things that she was doing. She just decided she was no longer gonna deal with her doobie, with her relaxer. She decided that because it was too expensive, she was having all these problems. And it looks like from the videos that she had a little bit of thinning issue. I would love to interview her just to see really what was going on with that relaxer, because I think that's the biggie. But anyway, so she decided she didn't no longer want to do it, and she shaved her head. And I'm going to tell you guys, you can look at essence.com and see this with Aisha Hinds. She looks really good. I mean, she looks really, really sharp. So I'm impressed. I am super impressed. I mean, she is just, she's on television. She's been in a lot of movies. I think True Blood was one of them. She's got some other things going on. She's got a bunch going on. And she was born in New York. So she's a New Yorker. And she began her career in television around 2003. And I think in that time she was on NYPD Blue. That's what it was. Yes, that's right. And so she's just done a lot of things. She's pretty cool. A very good actress, I think. And I love her look. It just looks good. So she decided to go bald. Got to shave her head. We're going to look and do it like that. And then we've got another celebrity, and I want to pronounce her name correctly. And pronounce it?
Kelis.
Kelis, that's right. Kelis has decided to do something very different with her hair. She's got this bonfire style. Wow. This singer, and she is just the queen of song. And she decided to do something really different with her hair. She just decided she was going to reason to praise her swagger. She did this style that she's put some lavender hue through her hair. I was really surprised. But she's 37 years old, so she decided she's going to do some little fancy funky colors. But the thing that it appears that she has not damaged her hair, because that's the thing with me. And I always want to talk about the trichologist in me. I want to talk about how safe it is. So there's just so many ways to do this. I recommend, if you want to do what she has done, Kelis has done, I think that you should just get you some clip-ons, or go get you some blonde weave, or get a weft of it blonde, and then just get some, you can use purple colors, and you could do something like a purple or grape Kool-Aid. I mean, it's homemade, but you could do that. But or you could have it professionally done. And if you have it professionally done, you just need to make sure that when you take your hair into purple, you don't just go and buy purple and put it on your hair. You have to take all the color pigment out of your hair first, or at least most of it. And once you take most of that color pigment out, then you deposit back in there the color that you want. That's really how it's done. Now, if you get some pieces because you just want to do this have some funky colors just for the weekend, then the safest way to do this is to just simply get some pieces, make them, or buy them, because they sell them at any local wig store. So while we'll let this songstress do her thing and have her funky lavender hair, do it safe if we do it. So here's your takeaway. If you color your own hair, if you decide you want to do this, I suggest you buy some pieces and get the color you want. If you want this for sure your own hair, then I suggest that you go to a colorist, someone who specializes in it. And remember, you want to know how to start this color, then you want to know how to maintain the health of your hair while wearing the color, because you would not believe the amount of patients that come into my institute that simply lose their hair. They just simply lose every part of the hair that's light, every highlight, every color treated piece. Like if they usually they do this and put highlights, the colorist, every one of those pieces fall off. Okay, yeah, just saying, when you do color your hair, you have to be really, really careful. So that's it for Aisha and Kelis. So now you are in tune on what some of the celebrities are doing. If you have a celebrity you want me to talk about and you want to know, well, how did that celebrity get her hair this way? And more than that, how can I do what that celebrity did to her hair and be safe and not lose hair? Because you know what, at the end of the day, that's the bottom line, is just not to lose hair. Okay, so all right, so if you're just tuning in for the very first time, welcome to the show. I'm Trichologist Lisa Akbari, your hair doctor, and today we're talking about, we did our celebrity news, but we're going to talk about something else now. Something else that we need to talk about is curl type, because I think that so many people get confused about curl type, curl texture and curl type. But we want to know, why is it important to understand your curl type? And why is it so important to understand your hair, or your hair texture and your hair type? That's crucial, because we get that confused and we end up with problems with hair breakage, because we are now getting, one, curl texture and curl type confused, and two, once we have a certain curl type, we've confused that with a certain curl texture. And let me tell you what I mean. You can have extremely spiral, very tightly coiled hair, and then you think that that hair is thick. But when you stretch that strand out and we microscopically view that strand, we see that that's a very small strand. It's just very spiral, which is the type. So texture deals with the size, type deals with the shape. So curl type, understanding the curl type and texture combination is more important than just understanding the curl type. But understanding your curl type, dealing with the size of your, the actual shape of your strand, from straight to extremely kinky, then that helps you to go back and say, okay, even though I have a very spiral strand or a loosely coiled strand, whatever my type is, then I actually need to look at the texture as well. All right, that's important. Also with curl type, and let's move on to type. Curl type is important because that tells you how to approach that hair style of choice without damaging your hair, because that's where a lot of people get in trouble. They will not look at their hair and they tend to bully. You know, I always talk about that, guys. They want to bully their hair into place. So what I want you to do, instead of bullying your hair into place, I want you to have a way to actually style your hair without having to destroy your hair. Because when you have a certain hair type, then you have to be really careful to make sure that that hair type that you have is styled in a healthy way. And how do you do that? If you have a question for me, my chat room is open. You can chat, go to me live right there on YouTube, or you can email me, lisa@lisaakbari.com, and I will answer your question. If you're just tuning in, thank you so much and welcome to the show. We're talking about hair type and how important it is. And we're just going to talk about how to not bully our hair in place. Let me get my fro back up here. There we go. I'm doing some stuff with my hair today. I always have fun with my hair, and I do that because I want you guys to have fun. But back to hair type. Okay, so we do not want to bully our hair in place. We want to create a look that works very well for us and without causing the problem. So how do you do that? These are the things you need to look for when you think about your hair. Okay, and styling it. And if you have, say, if you have fine hair strands, of course, are smaller. And if you're going to use heated tools, you have to make sure that you have a lower temperature because you have a small strand. If you have a large strand like coarse hair, you can use higher temperatures. You've heard me talk about that, right? But here's the deal. This is where most people get in trouble. You can have your older hair on the ends. The older hair may be medium or fine, and the hair close to the scalp may be coarse or medium. So you have to use the temperature on the weakest, I call it the weakest link. That means you have to use the temperature on the hair that's closer to the ends, because the temperature that's for the finer hair will assure that that hair doesn't burn while you're trying to straighten out everything else. So if you have hair that's had an unnatural texture change, and you have but your hair is very spiral, but it's gotten thinner than it was initially, then you have to be very careful, because what will happen, you will end up with over processing your hair. So we don't want it. This is not about heated tools. This is about hair type and understanding that pattern and how to style it without bullying it. So with that, you're going to use a small amount of heat on the ends, go down to the scalp with that small amount of heat, because that is the weakest hair and you'll end up burning. Now, that's what you do, and you always use a protectant. That we have a product called Cool Down. I highly recommend it. And then you want to make sure that you have the temperature for fine hair, and even if it's a tight curl, it's still a small strand. You want to stay around 100, 150 degrees. Not very hot, but fine hair, that works. If you have coarse hair, you can go up to 400. Now, hair generally burns right at 300, but coarse hair will withstand. Some studies that have shown that it will be able to handle that temperature of 400 degrees. Okay, so that's important. Now, let's just say you have natural hair like mine, and you want to know, how am I going to keep my natural hair pattern under control? And that's one of the big things. I have a lot of patients who say, you know what, I want to grow natural, but I just don't know how to manage my hair. Well, natural hair is not hard to manage. You just have to have a plan. You have to have understand it can be a low maintenance, not zero maintenance. And that's the thing. And especially a lot of folks grew up, especially folks of color, and I just gotta say it, I'm not picking on us, but we grew up getting our hair done at the beauty salon, and we might wrap it, we might roll it, but tie it down. We went to bed. We don't want a hairstyle we gotta do a whole lot to. But back in the day, they use, I mean, research shows you, they use all kinds of things to make the hair look good. They would plait that natural fro and moisturize it, or grease it as they called it, and plait it up every night. And see, that's not what we're doing now. So we just kind of lay on it. So we end up with a problem. So here's the deal. If you're going to manage your curl pattern and you have a very spiral curl, then you have to look at how you're dressing it for bed. Also, you have to look at the health of that very spiral curl. So if that very spiral curl is just frizzy and it's dry and brittle, we can talk about dry and brittle a little later as well, then you have to make sure that you are using things to raise your moisture levels so that your hair is easier to manipulate. And then you have to, you're not pulling because you don't want the tears. Remember, we talked about that earlier. And then you have to make sure that the ends are sealed after they're hydrated. You want to raise them up, have them soft, and then you want to seal in the hydration. And then you want to cover them. So you can twist them, twirl them around your finger, and tuck them under. And that's what I do with my fro. You'll look on my YouTube page, type in Lisa Akbari. That's Lisa Akbari, and then type in curly fro, and you'll see what I do every single night to dress my hair for bed. Okay, all right. So you do that, you tuck those ends, and then when you get up, you put a little oil on your fingers and reverse them, or you take, like I do, I twist my hair in my curly fro and my hair vitamins, and then I just reverse them with my moisturizer and then pull it back in the scrunchie so it stretches out. And then I'll do is fluff, as you saw earlier. And if you're just tuning in, you can go back to the beginning of this video. It'll be archived, and you can go back and you can see how my hair was when I started in the studio today. Welcome to the show. We're talking about hair texture and hair type. If you have a question about hair texture and hair type, or hair type and how to manage it, then please at lisaakbari.com, or you can chat with right now live on my YouTube page. If you're tuning into the radio, just shoot me an email, guys. Our phone lines are not open right now. So, all right, love you guys. Welcome to the show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It's a great, beautiful day. Okay, let's move on. We're going to talk about some other things too as well, because I've got a whole list of things that I'm going to talk about. So let's go to how to get your curls, define them, manipulate them, adjust them, move them around without heat. Wow, that's huge. See, you got to keep in mind, hair is just keratinized cells. You got to protect and preserve them no matter what you do. You don't have to have heat to curl your hair. You know, we grew up knowing how to roll our hair. Everybody knew how to roll it. Some of you guys used the paper sack, and I heard about that back in the day, and the little bobby pin. Well, the way you do this without destroying your hair and without heat is there's several ways. When your hair is wet, those bonds called the hydrogen bonds, those top bonds that make it just soft and flexible, those bonds are broken down initially. And so once if you set your hair, and if you have natural hair, you have two options with it wet. If you have relaxed hair, you have an option as well with it wet. Option with relaxed hair, you can roll and set it. Option with straight hair, you can twist it and roll the ends, and you can change that straight to curl. We all know that, but you don't want the frizz. So how are you going to get those curls if you have natural hair? Natural hair, you can take your hair. The key thing is to get it to stretch out. As you may see, if you go on my website or on my YouTube page, you'll see that curl pattern just stretched out. You can get that by taking the hair and smoothing it into place and stretching it, and taking your curl stretching it straight out, and then you're going to wrap it. You can get like a satin roller, or you can get like a we call them Sentinel. You can order them. Just call my institute at 901-380-4445, and you can get a Sentinel roller, and that roller or satin is fine. That's the least expensive way, because we had someone make those Sentinels with that moisture lock fabric. They're great, but they're just cost a little bit more, and you can actually have that done on yourself. I got a scratch on my hair. Okay, so you put the roller in the middle of your hair, and you stretching your hair, but you're not gonna pull your hair out, and you stretching, and then you just wrap it around the hair, and then you wrap it, and you go to the opposite side and catch it and wrap it, and then you take the rest of it and you just kind of swirl it around the hair. Then you slide your hair off your finger, or off the, you will have it on the roller. If you do it on your finger, off the finger, and you put a pin curl clippy there, or you take that roller and you roll that all the way down. Then you take your finger and put it underneath the area right at the line of demarcation, or not demarcation, or departure, right at your hairline, to make sure there's no, there's no pulling, no traction. Okay, so if even just for that few minutes, you see how that curl stretched out. So what you're going to do is you're going to get a smoother curl. So you're just twirling it around. I'm just going to go again. So the end is tucked, so you don't have fish hooks. And then you're going to take it, and you're going to twirl it, and then you're going to slide it off your finger. And I like to do it with my fingers. I don't use rollers. And then you pin curl just like that. Okay? And I'm going to leave that just like that for a second and see how that becomes defined. All right, so you can manipulate it. You can also use like cloth pieces of, and understand, I'm not going to talk a lot about you sleeping on rods and sleeping on rollers, because two things happen when you sleep on rods and rollers, and those hot dog rollers and all those kinds of names of rollers you guys have out there. They cause too much pressure against your skin, and eventually will break your epidermis and cause it to be tender and sore. They'll also cause traction, pulling your scalp or your follicle, and cause it to be tender and sore, and it will cause traction along your hairline, causing it to break. So no, I want you to use any of the rollers that are softer, like the Sentinel. They're basically sponge rollers, and they have satin over the top of them, or they have a moisture lock fabric, or I want you to use just a pin curl. Okay. All right, guys, so that's one way to get some nice, cute, tight curls without the heat. Yay! If you're just tuning in for the very first time, I'm Trichologist Lisa Akbari, your hair doctor, and today we're here talking about hair. We're talking about whatever you like to talk about as it relates to your hair. My chat room is open, and my email box is always open. You can chat with me, go to my YouTube page, or you can email me, Lisa at lisaakbari.com, and I'll be more than happy to answer your question. And even if you missed the show and you're like, hey, wait a minute, I missed the chat, you can still email me. I'm here for you. I always will be. Okay, so now we want to talk a little bit about brittle ends, because that's a big deal. And I want to talk about what's the difference, how do you know what's brittle and what's not? Because I'll have patients to come into the institute and they'll say things like, my hair is very brittle. My hair is very dry. And I say, okay, well, let's take a look. So I touch the hair and it doesn't feel dry to me. But here's the deal, and you can see my little curl here. We're letting that set. So if you're just tuning in and wondering what is that on the side of her head, I'm letting my curl set. But it doesn't feel dry to me. So what that tells me is that something else is going on with that strand, or that curl, that section of hair. It's called frizz. Okay, so there's a difference between frizzed hair. There's a difference between dry and brittle hair. So we want to address it. So we want to look at how do we get rid of the dry brittle hair, and then how do we know the difference in the dry brittle and the frizz? It's by hair inspection. You just kind of touch your hair. You touch your strands. You feel, if it feels hard, it's dry and brittle. But if it's soft, but it looks dry and it looks brittle, then it's probably just frizz. And you handle those two different ways. It's so important. Now, you want to start with how do you prevent the dry, brittle, and even frizz hair. It's pretty much two different ways on the style end, but on the care piece, you got to do the same. First, you got to deep condition. Crucial. And you have to start with the ends because the ends is the oldest part of the hair. It has the most wear and tear. It has the poorest porosity. That means it's not going to hold moisture as well. You have to deal with all of that. And then you have to make sure that every day you focus on the ends. You focus on getting those ends treated, because what that's going to do is make the cuticle more compact. It's going to hold your moisture, and it's going to get your style, keep your style from frizzing. So you killed in two birds with one stone. So conditioning, clean, keeping it hydrated is important. All right, and then sealing in that hydration. Second, you want to make sure you look at, if you have dry brittle hair, you have to do two things. You have to do moistures and oils, because you want to hydrate it and seal it. So you start out with I have a product called my Hair Vitamin, my Moisture Plus, and oil sheen and jar. Real simple. If you're having a problem with frizzy hair, then if it's relaxed hair, then you're going to make sure you use a sculpting setting lotion at one called Sculptor Set on my website, lisaakbari.com. And you use that because it's going to be more of a cream and not a gel. Because these harsh setting lotions that gel down the hair, they tear the cuticle and they're going to cause more frizz later. They'll start out okay and frizz later. If you have natural kinky hair, while your hair is wet, you can go actually from Hair Vitamin. If you know you have soft hair, but so it's not dry feeling, it's just frizzy once it dries, you can go from Hair Vitamin to oil sheen in a jar. So you put my Hair Vitamin on the hair, and then you put the oil sheen in a jar on the hair, smooth it like a piece of ribbon, twist it, roll it, or tuck it. And then when you take it down, just take a small amount. It's not going to be heavy because the oil is very skin friendly and hair friendly. So you're going to go through, fluff it through, and you have less frizz. So dry brittle hair, that means it feels dry. If it feels soft and it just looks dry, then it's probably just frizz. And you have to do it while the hair is wet. When the hair is dry, then you have to re-wet so the cuticle layer, because frizz comes from the cuticle being porous and the cuticle being lifted. So it gets under the cuticle and swells the hair. And you ever notice how when you are out in the misty rain or you are working out and you start fluffing your hair, and then later on it starts to dry, it's all frizzy. And that's the reason, because you've got moisture under the cuticle layer. So what you want to do is make sure that you seal in and make sure that you leave it in that crucial drying stage. And then when you're ready to style it, it will be okay. Now, to differentiate that, because I know I've talked about two things, just your takeaway. Make sure you understand that if it feels dry, then it needs to be deep conditioned and hydrated. If it looks dry, then it most likely just needs to, and frizzy, most likely it just needs to be conditioned. Of course, everything starts out with your deep conditioning, but it needs to be controlled and sealed before it dries. In other words, while it's wet. Along during that crucial drying stage. If you're just tuning in for the very, very first time, or if you are tuning in every week with me, I'm trichologist Lisa Akbari, your hair doctor, and I'm here each and every week right here in the WDI studios and iHeartRadio. So tell your friends wherever they are in the world, they can tune in on my YouTube page, or they can actually download the iHeart app. So they will be in touch and with me. So I'm here every week. So thank you guys for tuning in. You guys are the best. I absolutely love my cyber family. We just finished talking about brittle ends and all those problems that we tend to have. I want to go to something that is huge for a lot of folks. I want to talk about locks. You know, because, I mean, guys, let's face it, there is a right way and a wrong way to not only start our locks, but also there's a right and wrong way to care for our locks. I mean, locks are a beautiful expression. I mean, think about it. Beautiful locked hair, really, even any hair. I mean, you are not going to get it unless you take time, and that's having patience. Take the time and understand that it is a low maintenance, not a zero maintenance. You have to have a solid plan, a care plan, whether you're wearing your hair locked or whether you're wearing your hair relaxed or natural. You got to have a plan, guys. If you don't, you've heard that expression, if you don't plan, you plan to fail. Yeah, you're going to fail. So you're planning one way or the other, planning to fail or planning to succeed. So you've got to have a plan. And you've got to do that prior to starting this style. And I always talk about it, and I talk about it in my books. So if you don't have any of my books, please do get them. I have one called Black Woman's Guide to Beautiful Hair. I have several books, but the two they're on my site right now. Black Woman's Guide to Beautiful Hair, which talks, it's kind of a girlfriend, can we talk, let's get real, sister, about our hair kind of book. And then I have a book called Every Woman's Guide to Beautiful Hair, which deals with sisters from African kinky to Asian straight and everything in between. It's wonderful. So I talk a lot about our hair and all of our plans and our care factor and our support factor and our style. You have to break that up. So when you're trying to get locks, you have to say, here's my plan for it. Okay. So not every lock style will work for every person. And you have to keep that in mind. And the reason I say that is because you have to determine if you're going to do the work. Because if you want this style, you've got to do the work. And you have to look at a lot of things because, I mean, nowadays, even though I think it's unfair, you have to look at your job. If you go in and you have straight hair on a job and then you decide a few days later, and you should, a few weeks later, a few months later, or a year later, that you want to do locks, I think you just need to understand who you're working with. You know what I'm saying? It's not fair, but talk to them. So let the folks know, hey, I want to do locks. And look at your hair type. And if you have a hair type and texture, you have a very straight, your wave pattern to your hair or almost straight, it's going to be harder to lock it. If you have very fine hair, it's going to be really hard on that follicle if you're trying to do some really heavy locks. So make sure, because a lot of people help start locks by locking other fabric in there. So you have to be really careful. And then we're going to talk about that maintenance of the locks because it's really, really crucial, because I get so many patients in that are actually balding because of it. But we'll get to that in just a minute. Now, if you want to get locks, this is what you want to do. If you look at your hair and you say, well, I'm going to make the investment, you can go to a loctician, and the loctician can help you start your locks. And I know that a lot of times they tell you don't wear any hydrating products initially. Well, I say you have to clarify your hair with a clarifying shampoo, and then you have to go back and you have to put oil on it, because your hair and your scalp will hold 20% of its weight in moisture. So you can oil, and that's one way of hydrating the hair without actually putting moisturizers on it. But what it's doing is it's sealing in the natural hydration from the moisture from the water. So when the hair dries, it doesn't completely dry out. So that's a little tip as a trichologist, something that I can tell you really does work. So that's important. Now, if you're going to start your locks, you've got it, like I said, the best thing is to have a loctician, but you want to give yourself at least about a ½ an inch of hair to start that lock. Now, what's important to me is to make sure that you are not causing traction. And this is where a lot of people go wrong. They try to twist the hair way down and tight to the scalp instead of tight to the hair. If you're going to do the locks, you can take your hair twisted. I don't know if you remember, any of you back in the day, and they have videos, you can type in Love Knot. There was the way where you wrap the hair at the base. So that's the best thing to do. If you're going to wear locks, my recommendation is to do this. It's to twist the hair, and I'm not a loctician, but I'm a trichologist. I can tell you the healthy way to do it. And that's why I come up with styles, because I do want to keep in mind, and let's face it, I am a cosmetologist. I styled hair for 10 years before I went back to school to become a trichologist. So I know a thing or two about styling. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that it's really important that my focus is on the safest and the healthiest way to do it. So with that being said, I'm going to highly recommend that you twist your, at least you want to have about a half an inch of new growth, new hair, and then you twist that piece of the hair that's twisted, twirl it around the base, take oil and twirl that oil around that base, and then take a little oil, twirl in it. Now some will say gel, some will say all kinds of things that you should be doing there, and I don't recommend it. If you're going to start your own locks, I say oils, because again, it's clean. Now, how do you have a clean oil? Oils are not water soluble. You just want an oil that is going to break down easily, a lot easier. It doesn't have all those fillers in it. So that's going to be crucial. I have a product called Oil Sheen in a jar. I absolutely love it. It's packed really dense in the jar, but it does it. I mean, I have a lot of patients who use it on their locks and they absolutely love it, along with the hair vitamin. So using your hair vitamin and your oil and twisting that hair, just keep twisting it a little bit every day, you're good. Now, once we've got our locks, how do we care for them? Because that's crucial, because so often we get these locks and we're not taking care of them. It's like I said as we started, it's a low maintenance, not a zero maintenance style. Now, some people will go and they will get these lock extensions at the beauty supply, or they'll put wigs on top of them and they'll just take them out every day, their hair down, and twist and do all that. Well, that's one way. If you can do that, but you still have to take care. So here's the deal. The way you take care of these locks is you're starting them and as you start to get them. And if you don't, they're not long enough and you want to go in and you want to do a wig on top of it, you need to get something like a little nylon turban. And I have them. You can email me, lisa@lisaakbari.com. I can connect you with our hair consultant that ships out all of our stuff and products and things. And he can get you connected with a treatment turban. His name is Tommy, Mr. Tommy Macklin, and he will help you with getting a treatment turban. Or anybody who calls, or if you call my number 901-380-4445. Wow, Lisa, slow it down a little bit. You will be able to get a treatment turban sent to you, so let them know. But you want to wear that first. You want to clean the inside of your wig. You can email me and I can give you instructions on how to keep your inside of your wig clean. You want to protect your locks from the fiber of the wig. So you wear the treatment turban, clean the inside of the wig. You don't want any bacteria. Wipe it out. I have some steps. You can email me, lisa@lisaakbari.com, and I'll get you those steps. And that way, you know that if that was your choice, you have a sanitized wig protecting your locks from the wig fiber, and you're good to go. But if you're going to wear your own locks, you need to always shampoo them. Now, how do you do that? You want to get in the shower. You want to use warm water in the shower, and you want to focus on your hair close to the scalp, because when you get down to the base, and as you're doing it, you use one hand and get you a handheld sprayer. So you use one hand to hold the sprayer, and then you use the other hand as you're twisting the lock and you're spraying. So in a twisting motion, you're rinsing. In a twisting motion, you're using your conditioner. 60 seconds and you're out of there. And as your locks get longer, you start deep conditioning, because as they get older, they start to age. The hair can be a little bit more porous. It starts to get that wear and tear that all hair does. It's like fiber. And so you'll make sure that you do that. Okay, guys, that's the tips on locks. You can always, these shows, I try to cover a lot of things because there's so many people that have all of these questions about all these things, and so you just want to make sure that you get your questions in. Email me. Let's see, I think we want to go to our chat room, and I think I have a question or a comment. Oh, it's a comment. She said, thank you so much for these personalized videos. I can't wait to try your program. I would like to know what hairstyles will help me to retain length. I think that's crucial, and that's a great question. Listen, retaining length is, folk, I tell you, it's really simple. Take care of the old folks. What do I mean by that? Everything on your ends, and I'm going to go on this side because this side is not the best, because I want to make sure I let you see how that's going to set in place just without heat, making that curl. You got to make sure that the ends, everywhere from, I would say, 2 or 3 inches down, that's where you're going to have a problem with having length. Most people, when they say my hair won't grow, they're growing hair from the scalp, but they're losing from the body of the shaft. And this is crucial to do that. Then you want to make sure that when you actually work with your hair, you want to make sure that you are not detangling. I have a product called Hydrating Detangling Souffle, and that particular product is wonderful for taking and putting on your ends and taking your forefinger and thumb, sliding it through, and you can have a larger section than that, using fingers and thumb and sliding it through. And then you're going to take your human comb and you're going to slide straight through so you're not pulling the hair. Now, this is the deal. What I always like to tell you is to make sure you take care of this portion every day. Hydrate and seal. Once you hydrate and seal, then this hair cuticle will be a lot more compact. Your elasticity will be better. You won't create tears, and you will get length to your hair. So that's crucial. Okay. All right. So let's go to our final, if we have time, quick weave. Oh my goodness, quick weave. Oh, there's so many reasons why we shouldn't do quick weave, but listen, we just got to get quick weave. Okay. All right. I am a trichologist. I never tell you can't do something, but let me tell you, quick weave is just bad. There's not a good way to do quick weave. It's really cute, but it's bad. And those of you who are out there who are being told that you can get a quick weave without damaging your hair, that is simply not true. If you've been told that you can get a quick weave and the glue is not being glued to your scalp, I have one thing to say to you. Are you ever able to take that quick weave off? No. So what is it glued to? If they spray something on it or you put a cap on it, it seeps through the glue and it gets to your scalp. The danger to quick weave is it gets inside the mouth of the follicle and it holds bacteria, so you can have all kinds of pathogens breeding and growing in that. Then also it causes the problems with blockages around the mouth of the follicle, and it is bad. And when you remove it, what happens? You literally tear not only the hair off, you tear away the top epidermis layers, like the cornea layers. And when you do that, you have a problem with the skin responding. It'll either be tender, it'll start to flake, it'll itch, all kinds of problems. So it is going to cause a problem with damage. Okay, it will be problems. And so I just don't recommend them. I don't recommend them at all. It also causes a problem with tearing off your hairline. So many people put the quick weave on and then they end up without hairlines. We've did some celebrity news about some of the celebrities that had a real big issue with that and lost their hairline because it's huge. I mean, we look at some, we have a team here, our Grizzlies, go Grizzly. We have that team, and a lot of the dancers, Grizzly cheerleaders, we call them, those guys, those ladies, man, they end up pulling their entire hairline off because they wear actually they wear wigs with a quick weave kind of glue on it. So it's really problematic. Okay, guys, we're going to do a show on quick weaving, and I want your questions. Help me out with your questions. I want to hear them. But before we go, and so you guys out there, welcome, welcome, welcome to the show. I want to show what this curl looks like. I know if you're listening on the radio, you're not going to be able to see it, but I want you to see what happens with the curl. See how I did not, literally did not use any heat, but see how I formed a curl. Just by twisting my hair, it formed a curl. So if I did this all over, I could actually have curls on my hair. So this is what's crucial. If you twist your hair, roll it down your finger, and this is what I did, then you can create a curl. Now, can you imagine, and this was just for a few minutes, can you imagine doing this overnight? This would be something great. And it will be beautiful in the morning. And you're basically just creating like a little pin curl. And if you use a roller, you're going to make sure that you don't, and it's got to be a Sentinel or a satin roller, like the sponge with the Sentinel moisture cloth over it, or from me, lisaakbari.com, or you can use your satin rolls, and you can find those at any little store. So I'm just going to fluff this back out. Love that little curl that it developed. And this is on natural hair. So much you can do with your natural hair and make it all beautiful and wonderful. Okay, guys, well, it's been a great show. I love you, love you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. I'm trichologist Lisa Akbari, your hair doctor. I'm here each and every week right here in the WDI studios and iHeartRadio. And so our chat room has been awfully quiet today. Thank you for tuning in. There are some others who have tuned in. Thank you so much, Judy Frazier. Know that you more about how our products working with Caucasian hair. Yes, yes, yes. They work on all types of hair. Keep in mind, you have the care factor. And everybody needs what's in the care factor: shampoos, conditioners, leave-in conditioners. Then you have your support. Not everybody's going to need moisturizers and oils. They are support. They're to raise your moisture levels and keep them up, and they're to give you extra sheen to your hair. And help with your dry scalp. Not everybody's going to need styling products. You may not need the setting lotions or the setting tools. So everyone needs care. So you can use, on your clients, you can use our shampoos, conditioners, leave-in conditioners, and if you need moisturizers for some of your dry, brittle ends, you can. All right, guys. Well, the show is ending now. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you next week right here on Ask the Hair Doctor, where we're going to have another show, and we're going to talk about hair. Whatever you like to talk about, you can email me, lisa@lisaakbari.com, or you can call my institute at 901-380-4445, and that's 901-380-4445. And I'll be here next week right here with another, I've heard that, audition, didn't sound quite right, another show just for you. To God be the glory in Jesus. Enjoy your life. Enjoy. Go out and do something nice for someone every day. God help me to be nice to someone and be kind to someone. Sometimes it's just a compliment. Sometimes it's something even bigger. Whatever God puts in your hand is to stay open and to give out. Okay? All right. Love you, love you, love you. I'll see you next week right here on the show. Call me if you need me. Email me if you need me. Or send me a chat. Like me on Facebook. Follow on Twitter, on Instagram. Love you guys. All right. Have a great, wonderful morning, evening, or depending on if you're listening to me live or you're listening to looking at the archive. All right. Have a great day.